She looked me dead in the face and said, "My ex will always be part of my life. If you can't accept it, then maybe you shouldn't be here." That one sentence was like a knife dragging across my chest, slow and deliberate. I remember staring at her, trying to figure out if this was some twisted test or if she genuinely meant it. I didn't respond. I just stood there, trying to understand how the woman who once told me she loved me more than anything could now speak to me like I was just an inconvenience she had to tolerate. That was the moment something in me cracked, and I didn't know immediately. But everything that unfolded afterward would be karma unfolding with an almost surgical precision. Her name was Julia. I was 30. She was 28. And for 2 years, she had been the center of my world. We lived a quiet life together, nothing extravagant, but filled with inside jokes, long late-night talks, and plans for the future. Or at least, I thought we shared those plans. Looking back now, I realize I was the only one who believed in anything long-term. Julia had a way of making me feel like I mattered, like I was chosen. She knew how to pull me close, look into my eyes, and convince me that I was the one she wanted. And I believed her, not because I was naive, but because her lies were beautifully crafted. When things were good, they were incredible. She was affectionate, attentive, and always ready to remind me how lucky she felt. We spent evenings cooking together, weekends curled up on the couch watching movies, and mornings waking up tangled in each other. Those moments made up the foundation of what I thought was a strong relationship. But beneath that surface, something dark was hiding, waiting for the right moment to show itself. It started small. A sudden shift in her mood, a new tension in her shoulders, a guarded look in her eyes when her phone buzzed. At first, she brushed it off as stress. Then she said she needed more time to herself. Then she started talking about her ex, Noah. At first, just in casual stories, then in slightly defensive tones, and eventually in arguments that she insisted I was starting. When I confronted her the first time about how often she brought him up, she stared at me for a long second before saying that I was insecure, and that if I couldn't handle her having a history, then that was my problem. I tried to let it go. I tried to be understanding. But I couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't just about history. Something was happening behind my back, and my instincts were screaming at me not to ignore it. The signs kept piling up. Julia spent more time running errands, coming home late, or stepping outside to take calls that she claimed were from friends. She always had an excuse ready, well polished, and delivered with an irritated sigh, as if I was unreasonable for even asking. The intimacy between us shifted to she became distant, distracted. Some nights she didn't want to be touched at all. Other nights she acted like she was somewhere else entirely, and I was just a placeholder. I didn't want to believe she was cheating. I kept telling myself that maybe she was going through something private, something she wasn't ready to talk about. But the truth was bubbling beneath the surface, and it was only a matter of time before it exploded. One evening, after yet another argument about Noah, she delivered that cold, blunt sentence right to my face. "My ex will always be part of my life. If you can't accept it, maybe you shouldn't be here." The way she said "it's flat," emotionless, almost bored shattered me. That's when I knew that whatever remained of our relationship was hanging by a thread, and I wasn't the one holding it. The moment of truth came a week later. Julia said she was going to spend the afternoon with some friends, a casual get-together that supposedly had nothing to do with Noah. Something felt off, though. Her smile was too eager, her goodbye too rushed. And when she left, she didn't even look back at me. I waited. 15 minutes passed. Then, 30. Then I grabbed my keys and drove, not even sure where I was going, until something deep inside me pulled me toward the small cafe where she and I used to grab coffee on slow mornings. That's where I saw them. Julia and Noah sitting outside at a corner table, laughing like two people sharing a private world. And then Noah leaned across the table and kissed her. It wasn't a hesitant kiss or a moment of confusion. It was practiced, intimate, familiar, and she kissed him back like she'd been waiting for it all day. My stomach twisted so hard, I almost fell over. I didn't confront them. I didn't make a scene. I walked away with my hands shaking and my eyes burning, feeling like my entire chest had caved in. Even though I had suspected it, seeing it made every suspicion feel like a blade sliding deeper into me. That night, I waited for her to come home. When she did, she walked in, humming, acting like everything was normal. She didn't even notice the look on my face until I said her name. Then she froze. When I told her what I had seen, she didn't cry, didn't apologize. She just stared at me with a strange combination of fear and irritation before saying she didn't know what I expected. She claimed she had feelings for both of us and that I should have been mature enough to handle it. That was the final straw. But instead of exploding, I felt something inside me go still, cold, and steady. I realized that she didn't respect me, didn't value me, and never would. So I planned a revenge that didn't involve shouting, insults, or anything illegal. Just truth. Clean, sharp, unavoidable truth. Over the next few days, I slowly detached myself from her. I became quiet, calm, careful. She thought I was giving up, accepting things. She even walked around acting smug, believing she had me exactly where she wanted me. But I was watching, waiting, assembling every piece I needed. I discovered texts, photos, old messages, plans she and Noah had made months before she ever admitted he was just a friend. They weren't just cheating. They had been plotting ways to slowly push me out. They thought I would eventually give up on my own. They thought I would fade into the background while they rekindled their past. I gathered everything into a single folder. Screenshots, recordings, copies of messages. Then, one evening, I invited her over for a calm talk. She arrived confident, wearing a smile that screamed she had already won. She sat down, crossed her legs, and acted like nothing was wrong. That's when I slid the folder across the table to her. Her face drained of color as she opened it. One page after another hit her like punches. She stammered, tried to explain, tried to twist the story, but I didn't let her. I kept my voice steady, controlled. I told her I would not fight for her. I would not beg, and I would not stay. I told her she wasn't the person I fell in love with, and that I finally understood that she never would be. But that wasn't the real revenge. The real revenge came when I sent the same folder to Noah's partner, a woman named Riley, a woman who had no idea she was being betrayed, a woman who had once trusted Noah the same way I had trusted Julia. When Riley called me, her voice shook with disbelief and heartbreak. We talked for a long time. She thanked me for telling her the truth. She said she deserved to know, and she did. The fallout was immediate. Julia showed up at my door crying, begging to talk. She claimed she made a mistake. That said Dean T want to lose me. She said she only went back to Noah because she was confused. But the truth was, she only came crawling back because her safety net had collapsed. Noah was dumped. Riley had confronted him with evidence. He panicked, blamed Julia, and the two of them imploded within hours. Julia tried everything to get me to stay. Tears, promises, nostalgia. But I was done. Completely done. Watching her world crumble wasn't satisfying because she suffered it, was satisfying because she finally had to face the consequences she had tried to avoid. I moved out a week later. I started rebuilding my life without her. Slow but steady. Some days were painful, others were freeing. But every day reminded me that letting her go was the best thing I could have done. Looking back now, I understand something important. Karma doesn't always arrive loudly. Sometimes it shows up quietly, in the form of truth. Sometimes the most powerful revenge is simply stepping back and letting people destroy themselves with their own choices. If you're listening to this and going through something similar, know this. You deserve honesty. You deserve someone who chooses you without hesitation. And sometimes walking away is the strongest move you can make. Subscribe to SilkMirror for more real stories of heartbreak, revenge, and transformation.